Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, I would like to teach you about literals in C. We already used literals in our previous programs, but we didn't use the word literal. Now let's see. A literal is nothing but the value which we initialize to the data item or identifier in the program. Like this, int employee ID. To this employee ID, we assign the value 111. This 111 is a literal. Similarly, we declare constant, which is float constant. The constant name is max employees. The value assigned is 1000. This is also a literal. Similarly, when we look at this example, we declared a float constant. The name is pi and its value is 3.14, where 3.14 is the literal. And we can divide these literals into 4 types in C. Let's see them. The first one is the character literals. If you want to initialize the data items with character values, then we need to give the character literals like this. We know that the character value should be represented between single quote. So the value A, C and M are character literals. If you want to initialize the data items with integer values, then we need to take integer literals. All these integer values are the examples of integer literals. Again, these integer literals will be subdivided into 3 categories. The first one is the decimal literal. If the number does not begin with either 0 like this, or it does not begin with 0x like this. We can see here these two numbers not begins with 0 or not begins with 0x. Then these two integer values will come under the first one, which is decimal literal. And in this value, this number begins with 0. Then this integer literal will come under the second one, that is the octal literal. And as this integer value begins with 0x, this literal is the example for the third one, which is hexadecimal literal. We know that the decimal means base is 10, octal means base is 8 and hexadecimal means base is 16. And coming to the float literals, if you want to initialize the data item with the float values like this, then we need to take float literals. And coming to the string literals, if you want to initialize the data items with the string values, then we need to take string literals like this. And one more thing I would like to say here, when we declare decimal literals, let's say for example, int a equal to 100. When we display it, we know that we need to display using printf. As it is an integer, we need to use the format specifier %d, a. In the output, we will get as it is, that is 100. Let's say for example, if we declare a data item octal literal, let's display it as this is also an integer. The output will be octal value. It means the value what we given decimal value where its base is 10. Then this one will be converted into base 8. It means we know that this is 3 into 8 power 0 plus this one 2 into 8 power 1 plus 0 into 8 power 3. We know that 3 into 8 power 0. 8 power 0 is 1. Then 3 into 1 plus 2 into 8 power 1 is 8 plus 0 into 8 power 3 is 0. That is, we can get 3 plus 16 plus 0, which is 19. So, the output of this statement is 19. And similarly, when we declare hexadecimal literal, let's display this one also. This one also integer, so we need to use %d. Then the value stored in C will be converted into hexadecimal. It means this is the base of 10 will be converted into base of 16. It means 2 into 16 power 0 plus 1 into 16 power 1. That is 2 into 16 power 0 is 1 plus 1 into 16 power 1 is 16. So we will get 2 plus 16, that is 18. So the output of this statement is 18. Okay. So please make a note about these two. Similarly, let's define character literal. We know that we need to represent between the single quote. When displaying it, we need to use the format specifier %C. As we store this value onto this data item, we need to write the name code. Now this one will display as W. Similarly, string literal also like this. We know that the string should be declared like this, and we need to initialize between the double quotes, and while displaying it as it is a string, we need to use the format specifier %S comma name. Now this one will display the value which is stored onto the character data item. Similarly, float also. Float, let's take our previous example which is pi. When we are displaying it, we need to use %f comma pi. Then it will display this value with 6 decimals. If you want only 2, we already know that .2f, then its output will be 3.14. So we declared all 4 types of literals in our program. Integer literals, where this one is decimal, this one is octal, and this one is hexadecimal. Character literal, string literal, and float literal. Let's execute this program in our code blocks ID, run and see. And before going to execute this, I would like to tell you one more important thing. We need to be very clear about what is a constant, what is a variable, and what is a literal. Let's say for example, if I give an int student ID equal to 100. Later, I can change its value to 200 because one student ID will be different from another student ID. Let's say if you don't want to allow to change its value, we are going to declare it as a constant. One way to declare constant is using const. Then pi is a constant. So if the value keeps on changing, like student ID, it is a variable. If the value doesn't change, then it is a constant, and the value we assign. Either we assign the value to the variable like this, or either we assign the value to the constant. The values which we assigned are called literals. It means literal is the value which we can assign either to the variable or to the constant. Okay. Now let's execute this program. Okay. Let's create a new file. Let's save this program. Let's give headings. And to display each value onto the separate line, let's give \n. Let's save the program, compile. Our program was compiled successfully. Let's run it. So this is the output. Thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you in the next video.